So, hey, Kate,
Hi there. How's it going?
it's going pretty well. And I'm thinking our instigating women and friends might like to hear a little bit about what we think about journaling. You and I have talked about it. We've tried it. We've failed. We've tried again. we've we've learned a little bit more along the way. And so I can just start by saying I don't know how many journals around my home.
Same.
Most of them started and then stopped after a few pages. I keep buying them. I like the way they look and feel. I like the thought of journaling. Um, and then I have to ask myself, why the hell don't I do it then? What stops me? And I think sometimes I think of journaling like a diary. Um, I think I don't want to put stuff down on paper that I don't want other people to find or read. I think sometimes I think it has to be like a written work of art that has to be perfect or make sense. I think sometimes because I buy these books that are journals that, they're just not in the right place at the right time. But I'd love to hear from you. What are your blocks if you have any?
So there's this philosophical agreement that journaling is good. That I mean, how many times have, you should journal for your mental health, you should journal for stress reduction, you should journal for gratitude, you should journal for like all the things that you should journal for. I want all those things. I want lower stress. I want better mental health. I certainly want more gratitude and more vulnerability in my life. And every time in the past, every time that I've like picked up the book or whatnot, it's been really difficult to continue. And then we shared a class together, the tapestry class, and that was a part of one of the core tenets was like you're going to journal every day, and I was like, I'm not. Like that is not going to happen. I know myself well enough that this is not happening.
So the rebellious Kate comes out, not just the instigating Kate.
That's just not going to happen.
Nope.
Let's be real. Um, but and I've started a lot. But one of the exercises that we did in the tapestry class was kind of a labyrinth, writing in the labyrinth and
Yeah.
out. For those of you who don't know, a labyrinth is it's a path in that also has a path out. And for some reason, um, in combination with the idea of I don't like the Dear Diary. Today I like that bores me to tears. Like I did nothing that interesting that I need to write about it. Um I'm like reflecting on yesterday. Nope, none of that needs to go in a journal. But there's this idea of like an abstract thought of journaling what I'm feeling in the moment. And so I like poetry. I like, bad, horrible, just not good poetry, but it helps me to be fast in the sense of like I can get the visuals of the feelings that I'm feeling on the paper, and then it feels like it sits there. The same thing with this labyrinth, it's a total poem. And it was kind of like what I'm feeling, and then like the next part was like, and what am I going to do? Kind of like the in was what I was feeling, and then the out was what I was going to do. And so, not that I journal at all, ever, every day, not at all. But when I do want to journal, because there's too much in my head, because I have high anxiety or just a little bit of anxiety, um, that's what I've been gravitating to is the short, quick visualization, kind of visual wording of things, poetry. We'll call it poetry.
So as you're talking, I'm thinking about the labyrinth. I'm also thinking the in and out you mentioned is almost like the in breath and out breath,
Mm-hmm.
that cleansing. Um, so do you want to try some
Yeah.
together?
Yeah.
Is there a prompt you want to use in and out or
Um, I don't have one readily available. Can you think of a prompt?
Hmm.
I'm gonna sneak over here and grab a piece of paper. I was not prepared, Gwen.
That's all right. It's all right. I'm not either. I'm trying to see this journaling thing as like meditation
Mm-hmm.
and go with it and see what comes up. So I don't know. It can be some starting with what I most want for this year. And the out can be what I need to let go of this year. And we can agree on just a minute or two on each. How much time do we need?
Let's do a minute on each.
Okay. I'll put my timer on a minute and let's go. All right, that was a minute on what I most want. Now we'll do a minute on what we can and need to let go of. Okay. And I think usually when we do these things, then we are asked circle 1 to 3 words in each that for some reason stick with you or mean more to you than others.
Sure.
So let's do that. Okay. You have yours?
I do.
Okay, I can start with what I most want. I circled the words soar, meaning soar as in fly.
Not sore after your half marathon coming up.
Right, right. Not that kind. Connect and forward. What are your words?
I think I write slower than you. I had fewer words. Sense of being and for my brain to grow in different ways.
Okay. And then let go of. I have badge, armor, and external.
I have judgment of me and others and buying multiple things.
Hmm. Okay.
Two kind of unrelated.
Yeah. Interesting. So, any observations on your words, your comments?
So I think my brain started going much more in the what I want to let go of
Hmm.
um, before we started. Like it was more eager to do that
Okay.
than what I wanted, which I thought was an interesting, just kind of, I could feel the energy towards that. Um, but in one of the phrases that a couple years ago I had was I'm practicing being a human being instead of a human doing.
Mm.
Um, and maybe that's coming up in the what I want this year. There's an energy shift that I'm looking for to have much more of my energy come from more important things than they did last year. So there was a lot more energy drain, and I want more energy abundance.
Of you and your being.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And similarly, I mean, I want to soar, connect, help people move forward and kind of let go of my perceived belief that I need to protect myself and be wary of all the external. I don't know if that's judgment or, yeah, just what others think I should be doing. And so, just stay focused on this path ahead. It's gonna uplift me. It's not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna get off the ground, and that's exciting. So keep focused on that. Um, and it's just kind of nice to sit and remind myself of, I think.
Yeah. I think there's so in this exercise, the things that are coming up to me is that this isn't a daily thing, but there's some freedom in just I'm gonna write for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, using any old paper. It doesn't have to be in a pretty binder. With some pithy saying on it. Um, that it can just be, I'm having some thoughts. I'm gonna get them out on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's that. And then I learned in one of our guest sessions, the faster you write, the faster then that you're ahead, the more ahead you get of your inner critic. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought, that's important. So a tip to anyone listening is write as fast as you can. And like you just said, a minute at a time is absolutely sufficient. And then rather than thinking of this as some diary that I have to keep safe and locked up and others might read, um, just think of this as a form of meditation, which it is. And you don't have to write every thought you're having. You can just write a word every now and then. That is really powerful at that point in time. And then if somebody does crack open your journal, who cares? They're just a few haphazard words.
Well,
Uh,
and this is decipherable.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't need to save this because I think that's part of the issue is like I don't want to go back to when I was 13 and read that. Some people, more power to them, that is their thing, but I'm never going to read this again. So let me just put it back into the earth.
Great point. Shredders
Yeah.
come in handy or just the recycling bin.
Mm-hmm.
Something else I learned is write with your dominant hand and then your non-dominant hand, and they work different sides of the brain, and you might have much different stuff come out on that paper, which is kind of interesting. I actually tried that yesterday because I wanted to test it, and yeah, it was pretty funny. It was very funny. And it was scary how scared I was to write with my left hand.
Mm. That's an allegory for something or a metaphor for
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm. Very weird. So yeah, I wrote things like, "Oh my God, arg, why am I resisting this with my left hand, which I can barely read?" So that was interesting. I didn't write anything like that with my right hand. So very cool. And then I also have this app called Day One, and it's a journal, quote unquote. But what I really like about that is I do have my phone with me all the time. And you can do nothing. If you want to, you can do text with your thumbs and put stuff in there, but you can also just take pictures, and you can put screenshots of stuff that you're reading, or articles you're reading in there. And that's a journal too.
I like that idea. Just the kind of the maybe it's a reminder of where you were in a particular season
Mhm.
or a particular year.
Mhm.
If you were going to keep it for archival purposes.
Mhm.
I've been leaning into voice memos a
Ah,
lot more. So I started recording meditations for my website, but then I started, doing a lot more of I'm not going to write it, I'm just going to say it. Because for me, the act of typing or the act of writing, there's this strong feeling of I want to edit it.
mhm.
And for some reason the voice doesn't do that for me. So the voice memo app on my phone works very well for that.
Great idea too.
Yeah.
And
And then
then,
you can edit them, which I don't, but you can name them what they are.
yeah, yeah,
It
great.
reminds me of Captain's log. Captain's
Ah,
log. Day 422 on this desert planet. This deserted planet. I don't know. But whatever. I dated myself there, but
yeah. And here we are. Well, good. So I hope this is providing some helpful tips to those who might want to journal and find that they can't or won't for whatever reason and don't understand why, because I know you and I have both been there.
absolutely. Good to talk to you today.
You too. Have a good one.